Hey, Think Realty, thanks so much for joining us today on the Think Realty podcast. My name is Eddie Wilson, the founder of Think Realty, founded it in 2013 just to help support you along your real estate investing journey. I'm a third generation real estate investor, and lots of information came to me by osmosis and great connections, but I realized the world around me did not have the same opportunity, and I wanted to make sure we had a news source and content and information just for those that are on this journey, just like you and just like myself. And always bringing great guests, great information to you. We've got a great guest here that I'll bring out in just 1 second, but I want to say a quick thank you to our podcast sponsor. Today, it is Residential Assisted Living Academy. Residential Assisted Living Academy introduce you to a lucrative opportunity that can yield over $10,000 a month net based on a great asset. And that cash flow can provide you security for you as well as your family in years to come. And you can find out more information at RAL101.com. That's RAL101.com. I've got a great guest today from Real Property Management. Stacy Brown's with us. Stacy, thanks so much for joining us today.
Thank you, Eddie. Glad to be here.
Yes. If you have been a longtime podcast listener or viewer, you have heard me talk about property management and real property management specifically for a very, very long time. You guys have been an awesome sponsor as well as a supporter of all of our programs and our shows. And I just want to say publicly, thank you guys so much for all that you do.
Appreciate it. Happy to do it.
Absolutely. So let's jump into just conversations around property management. The viewership and listenership, they know how I believe, and I'm going to push this narrative on you guys one more time, in that I believe that if you're going to get into the real estate investing game, you have to do it at scale. You can't look at it as just a small endeavor. I think that if you're going to really create legacy and wealth, you need to do it to the greatest degree that you are capable of. And for someone that has over 4,000 doors myself, I am passionate about this, but I'm not just passionate about what it does, it's passionate about what it creates. I get the chance to create legacy for my family and generations to come, as well as the nonprofit that we have, Impact Others, and giving and feeding over 4,000 children a day right now. It is a passion of mine, but I couldn't do it unless I actually had support and those around me, because if you are a do-it-all-yourself, if you're a DIYer, you're going to have a limitation and a ceiling on what you do. So Stacy, obviously this is what you guys help a lot of people do. I know you manage over 400 doors. You're in 50 states. Or 4,000. I'm sorry. Give me the right stat. I just messed up the stat. It's 400. It's
400 over 400 locations.
Yes.
We manage close to 77,000 doors across the United States.
77,000 doors, 400 locations, 77,000 doors. Yeah, I knew my number just didn't sound right there for a second. I was like, wait a minute, 400. But yeah, 77,000 doors, all 50 states. You guys are one of the leaders in the industry. And what do you think about that concept that if they're going to scale their business, they need to have a trusted partner to help them do it?
Well, you just absolutely have to. It is not scalable if you are doing the management. You can't be a proper investor into your portfolio or even build your wealth. And that's where partnering with a professional, and I underline professional property management company, comes into play, right? We know how to price property. We know how to manage that property. We know how to maintain that property, get leased with the highest quality and qualified renter out there. And we help you to maximize your return on investment.
Yeah. Stacy, I think gone are the days of the mom and pop handshake deals where we do them in back rooms, right? And it's time to professionalize the industry. I know you guys do just that. What are some of the practices that you guys have that are professionalizing the industry?
Well, we're very active with the National Association of Residential Property Managers, also with the granddaddies out there, the Institute of Real Estate Management. So we're constantly out there trying to push forward the narratives of the professionalism of this industry, as well as providing educational sources to as many people as we possibly can, because a rising ship brings up everyone. The problem, though, is that unfortunately, Eddie, I don't think gone are the days of the handshake deals. There's way too much of that still going on, and especially as things happening in the economy these days, we see so many people that come to us because they had those handshake deals and they thought they were getting a professional property management company until they found us.
Hmm.
And the difference is night and day for those clients, right? They go from being way undervalued on their properties and their properties not being taken care of properly by licensed professionals again to this other experience. And truly, that's why we get so much great word of mouth referrals through Real Property Management.
Yeah. Every time I promote you guys, I say this phrase. I say, a good property manager puts more money in your pocket than takes it out. How does that happen, right? Talk to us about how you guys, even though there is a fee associated with property management, will end up creating more profitability in those assets.
Again, all of the folks that own Real Property Management franchise locations have all the proper licensing that they need to have, so they understand the laws in their unique local areas to make sure that mistakes don't happen. They make sure that they hired licensed, bonded, and insured tradespeople to come out to the properties. Really, truly, where we really shine is through another product that we have called Wealth Optimizer, where we can help investors really look at their properties way down deep. We can look at appreciation, depreciation, cap flow, all of those sorts of things to make sure that you are not only making the properties that have invested in now the most profitable that they can be, but also what's next. We're always asking you, what's next? What's your goal, so that we can align with you and truly be that trusted advisor. It's all part of living our code of values.
Sure. Yeah, that's awesome. I get the chance to sit down with a lot of small investors, and I always talk about the nature of the job of being a real estate investor who's buying and holding properties. And I always present this to them. I say, look, if I had 5 properties, and I pay anywhere from 10 to 12% in property management, depending on where I'm at now. If I've got a short-term rental, I might be paying upwards of 15 to 20%. But I always just say, like, at 10%, right? Like at 10%, if I took my 5 properties and at 10%, if it freed me up to go ultimately buy 5 more properties, and I still didn't have to take on the nature of managing my properties, what is the value of that? And when you do that, just the financial value of that, it's crazy, right? Like 5 more rental properties that cash flow at the same amount, but then you're giving 10% of it away, it still puts you in a much more advantageous position financially. But where I really value it is it puts me in a better headspace, right? Like, I don't enjoy managing properties. I'm not great at going and instituting increases in my actual rents. I'm not great at collections. I'm not great at managing the maintenance side of the business. I'm not great, I'm great at the deal side. I'm great at finding deals, taking deals down. I'm great at the negotiation process. That's when it all breaks down for me. And so I got to the place in life where it's like I could either be a guy that has 5 to 10 and I'm frustrated and it's just a necessary evil, or I could be a guy that just decides, hey, I'm going to go bigger, let somebody else take care of the piece that I don't like or I'm not good at, and then I can go scale. And that's really what took me to over 4,000 doors today, was because I don't want to spend my time on the things that I'm not good at, And obviously you guys have made it your mission to be good at the thing that most people are not good at.
Well, yeah, I mean, Eddie, you're exactly right. You need to be a professional investor. Let us deal with the toilets and tenants.
Yeah, yeah. And I gladly let managers deal with toilets and tenants.
Yeah. Well, and most investors don't have the resources that we do to be able to negotiate those great pricing structures as far as those vendors go,
Yeah.
those maintenance issues that need to be done.
Right. Now, I want to hear some about just like your practices and, your best practices and what sets you apart from other, property managers. But I will say that the expectation by the tenant today is at an all-time high. If they have something go wrong in their unit, whether it's a single family or it's an apartment unit, they expect you to be on call and ready to take action immediately, right? They don't care that it's the middle of the night. There's an expectation today that is much higher than has ever been there before. Do you mind just kind of like walking us through how you meet the expectation of the tenants as well as the investors?
Number one, we we see ourselves as we have two different clients. Of course, we have a fiduciary duty to our investment property owners, but how do we get the highest quality investment property owners if we can't attract those highest quality and qualified renters as well, correct? So through our software systems, we have a 24-hour, 7 days a week, portal, so that the communication is constantly going between both parties, right, and with the property management company in between, as well as those calls. You still have to have a call center these days. If someone actually picks up the phone to call you, Eddie, to them it's an emergency, right?
Hmm.
And we're
Yes.
there to take those calls instead of our investors. Um, some of the things that we do as well is we create a resident handbook wherein the renter gets kind of a cliff notes of their lease with items in there that they're going to need, right? Things that people don't think about, such as not everyone knows how to run a sprinkler clock or where the water shutoff is, right? These are important little details that we make sure that we're covering with our renters so that our investors are free to go out and do what they do best, which is invest and build their wealth.
Yeah, that's awesome. It's so great that you guys have built this at scale, and I love the institutional approach to this, because great property management doesn't have to be just reserved for the people that have 4,000 doors, right? Like you guys provide that same level of service for someone who has 2 or 3 or 5 doors, and that's incredible. Are there any asset classes that you guys won't take? So if a single family investor also has a manufactured home, or they also have a little 5 or 6 unit building, what's kind of your sweet spot, and what will you take, won't you take?
Well, our sweet spot is the single family realm, obviously, but there really is nothing in the property management sphere that our companies can't handle. We do everything from short term, and those manufactured homes. It depends on the state and depends on the license requirement of that state. So
Right.
same thing with those owners associations and the major multifamily. We're talking 100 or more apartment communities down to those duplexes.
Mhm.
Lots of commercial, lots of mixed use. And, those days, those are going to be ramping up. Let's face it, as we run out of places to build, they're going to have to start turning back to that joke on the internet about turning the malls into
Mhm.
housing for all of us that were in high school in the 80s.
Yeah. So true. So many of these assets that used to be purposed for one thing are being turned into housing because there's such a housing shortage. We are at an all-time low when it comes to inventory, and it's a necessary evil. Now we're converting all kinds of random things into places that people stay and work, and all of that good stuff. Typical rates. Can you walk us through just a rate structure, costs, things like that?
As far as the management fees,
Yes, ma'am.
I can tell you that typically across the country, the average is 10%.
Yeah.
But truly, if price is really something that sticks with someone, then that just means that they've not received the value.
Hmm.
Right. We live at Real Property Management by these rules of profitability for our investors, and the way that we look at it is that you can charge fees based off of the value that you provide,
Hmm.
and we really stand behind that. We make sure that we've got owner benefit packages along with renter benefit packages. We make sure everyone's properly insured, all of these things. And that's another thing people don't think about. When I talk about making an investor more profitable, we're also out there to make sure that that investor is not putting themselves at risk.
Right. Yeah. So true. So true. I'm sure that you guys have kind of best practices, and you probably help them get into tenant insurance and all those good things, so that it's also protecting the asset owner.
Hmm. Yeah,
Yeah.
with liability, with lost rent.
Yeah.
Yeah,
That's
all of that.
It's really good. Awesome. Well, very good. Well, I appreciate all you guys do. Thank you for always supporting our industry events and our podcast. Thank you for being just a great sponsor, but also thank you for being such a stable source in the industry. My passion is this industry. I want to help more people. I know you guys do too, and appreciate all that you guys do. How can they get a hold of you guys? How can they find out more? Find out if there's a location near them where they can reach out to.
Very easily. You go to realpropertymgt.com. That is our corporate website. From there, they can put in a zip code and find their local office. Um, some validation out there. Entrepreneur, by the way, I wanted to sneak this in, Eddie. Entrepreneur
Please.
500 just named us #1 in the category this year. So we're really excited and very humbly proud about that.
Congratulations and well deserved.
Thank you.
Yeah, that's awesome. Very good. If you're out there and you are still managing your own properties, I understand. I understand as a control freak myself. I'm just joking. I really struggle to let go of those assets that have a ton of value to me. But once you do it, and once you find a partner like Stacy was saying that you trust, that brings the value to you, it's really not about the money any longer. It's not about, well, am I decreasing my profitability? I really do believe what they always talk about, and that is that a great property manager puts more money in your pocket than takes it out. If you are not actively raising rents when you're changing tenants, if you're not looking at what the market is doing around you, there's so many variables that you're missing out on that could help you find the profitability that you need. And you need a partner like Real Property Management. So Stacy, thanks so much for joining us today. Appreciate it. As always, you guys are always welcome in anything we do.
Thank you, Eddie. I hope you have a great afternoon.
Thank you, you too. Thanks again one more time to our sponsor, Residential Assisted Living Academy. They introduce you to a lucrative opportunity that can yield you over $10,000 a month net. It's a great asset class that you can get involved in. You can find out more about that at ral101.com. That's ral101.com. And if you haven't already signed up for our Phoenix Conference and Expo coming up in March, on March 28th and 29th, you will want to join us there. We have an amazing lineup of great speakers, great content. If you're already in the single family space, but you're considering multifamily, there's multifamily teachers. If you're considering self-storage, whatever it is, if you're wanting to create a commercial space, we have a ton of education there for you. I always tease my staff, it's like the boat show. If you want to go out and you want to go fishing, we got boats for you. If you want to go out and you want to buy a yacht, we got boats for you. You can call me Captain Eddie. I'll take you for a great ride. We'll have a great show. You got to come out in Phoenix, and you have to join us on the 28th and 29th. We'll have a great time. And if you go to thinkrealty.com/events, click on the Phoenix event, use the word podcast. It'll give you a buy one, get one free, and you can bring your friends, your family, a spouse, an investor. Bring some along with you, and we would love to help you out there. If you haven't got the latest, if you haven't picked up the latest Think Realty magazine, go to Barnes & Noble, pick it up off the shelves, or go to thinkrealty.com, have it sent out to your house like I do, and read it cover to cover. It's amazing content. And we are so excited that you joined us today on the podcast. Have a great day, and we'll see you next time.